All right. Hey, everyone. I'm actually going to try to do this live stream somewhere near the time I usually do it, which is, let me just check, EST time now, which is the way 12:22. So 8 minutes early, and 8 minutes early because I was going to wait till 12:30, but it's almost 1:30 a.m. here, and I'm feeling decent, but I'm like, you know what? I should just get going. I should have probably started this half hour earlier. But welcome to the Tuesday live stream, folks. Last week, I just simply could not get it together to do the live stream. But this week, pretty much on time. And I'm just going to talk through some of the things. I mean, one of the things that I did right before getting on, I saw that Fannie Mae is now at $7, folks. $7, $7, right? $7, $7. And what? I came on like a couple of weeks before the election, and I was like, listen, this can happen, right? I mean, obviously it's not at 50, but $7. I mean, ain't nothing. All right. There's a lot going on. I'm going to try to like just hit on certain investments. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. I want to talk about Mankind. We'll talk a little bit about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, a little bit, and throw your questions in. And let's get going. Okay, let me do the legal disclaimer and disclosure before I forget, which is that this live stream and the content from ATG Digital is not investment or financial advice. It is presented to you as opinion, information, engagement, and entertainment. Next, all ATG digital content may contain errors, oversights, and mistakes. Understand that investment operations have significant risks and can lead to the loss of your principal. Bottom line, you can lose money, and we don't always get everything right. Next, the owners, employees, contractors of ATG Digital, own, trade, transact, and securities I mentioned in this video, and all the content from ATG Digital. We do not take money from companies or crypto promoters, sponsors, etc., to recommend their stocks or crypto token. This apparently is widely done today. So, for better and for worse, what you're getting is our unique, independent viewpoint of the world. What do we got here? This is a lot of the content we put out. The Substack goes out pretty much any day the market is open. The podcast, all man speculating, goes up whenever I have the bandwidth to put stuff up between everything else that we, and our team do. And then YouTube, yeah, I'm on. I mean, I'm not on every day like Gotham Chess and other folks, but I'm on like at least once a week. So if you subscribe, I think it's been worthwhile, right, guys? I think I did a video on XRP and that moon, video on Fannie Mae and that moon. I mean, it's not bad for like a free channel. I mean, you're not paying anything. I mean, some of you are subscribers, of course, but like I think it's pretty good. I mean, I'd take it. Um, let's see here. Okay, I want to have to hide a lot of these. Social media on X regularly, Instagram pretty up to date. I send little messages out covering the main investments like Bitcoin and Tesla, and Facebook. I'm on once a month, and Dean puts things up in my name, and I put things up from time to time. So it's worth subscribing to all of my social media and following the content we put out, because I mean, truthfully, I don't know too many people that give you the level of coverage, the detail of coverage, and with a certain level of success rate. Now, obviously, we don't guarantee success, but you ain't paying nothing for it. I mean, people reading our Substack, if they followed it, have made gobs of money, gobs of money, gobs of money. But if you do want to pay for it, no compulsion. That's where you go, atgdigital.media. That's the actual website, atgdigital.media. And that's where you subscribe. And our subscription plans, tiers, whatever you want to call it, begin at $9.99 per month, which is our silver tier. Then we have gold tier, which is $14.99. Then goes to $19.99. So I mean, they're pretty affordable, pretty much for like the vast majority of people. All right, let's take this down, and let's talk a little bit about what's going on, what's going to happen. And the one thing that I think you're gonna see, like we are now in month nine post the Bitcoin halving, and everything that I have looked at, and I have looked at it in ridiculously fine, like detail. Everything that I've looked at says that month nine is the month where you really start to see big jumps, but with big volatility. And that is based on comparing this cycle to the 2016-2017 cycle, which this resembles the most. Now, we haven't had that many cycles. So, I mean, you can argue like, well, Paul, how can you say this? But you know what? We've had 2012, 2016, 2020. This is the fourth halving. But you have to base your expectations on something, right? I mean, you got to look back and think like, okay, so if you go back and look at the 2016, 2017 halving cycle, by month nine, Bitcoin is now making highs pretty much daily, right? So month nine begins on January 19th. And we've had in this cycle, like, we had a new high approach right before the Bitcoin ETF, and then we had a new high pretty much on time to like nearly $100,000. I mean, then we had a series of new highs, and then obviously 100,000, and we've been just in this range from 100,000 to about 90, 100,000 to 90, and many people, including, I think it's like the rich man poor man dude, Robert Kiyosaki. He's like, BlackRock is like, holding it down. This is all BS. This is all engagement farming. You can see in every past cycle, I mean, about here, we are, yeah, so, like we're at that, like, like in the 2016, 2017 cycle, we're at the 1,000 mark, and it just keeps hovering around there. And it's in month nine that really we start to break out, but we still potentially can see the lower bound, which I guess is like probably 85,000, let's say 85 to 90,000. So that's still possible. Why is that still possible? Well, it's the very nature of human markets, right? I mean, if this was a peak, 100,000 would have drawn extraordinary amounts of attention, a lot of people to come in and buy. But really, Bitcoin 100K, to my disappointment, really didn't draw much of a crowd, because I expected 100K to get hit and for us to go kind of like straight up to 130 and then come back and test 100 again and again and again. We never got to 130. We got 108, and now we're testing the lower bound again. And so some part of this is right. Like, I mean, in the way that I had modeled out the cycle, really we should have been churning through 120 and back to 90, 125 and back to 90. Instead, we have just churned at like 108 to 100. And I'm going to guess that the reason for that is that there's just a lot of people that want to sell at 100,000. I mean, we have seen wallets from 2010. I mean, essentially Genesis Bitcoin wallets come alive to get sold. I think that this one, I think someone said, I saw an article saying that like, I think like at probably when it was originally like made, the Bitcoin in it was worth a few $1,000s, and it was sold for like 200 million. So if you want to understand like, well, what, like, well, who is selling? Well, there are folks that like got in very early, and they just want out. They just want out. I mean, irrespective of my analysis of Bitcoin, anybody else's analysis of Bitcoin, Michael Saylor's analysis of Bitcoin, they just want out and they're pushing prices down as they go to do it. Because hey, at $100,000, like even if you put an order in for let's say all 200 million, yeah, there's buyers out there that want to buy $200 million worth of Bitcoin. I mean, just imagine there's buyers that are willing to buy $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. So, but we are at the last end of it. And the reason why it's the last end of it is that 100K is a natural point for sellers to come. And so they've come and they've absorbed and they've sort of like absorbed the buying for the better part of 3 to 4 months. But month nine sort of like begins January 19th. Remember, the halving was on April 19th. Um, um, sorry, month nine. Yeah. 10, 19, 11, 19, 12, 19, 1, 19. Sorry, that's like actually month uh, 10 or 11, whatever it is. It's very late here at night, and if I can't count or speak perfectly, this is the reason for it. Either way, I have gone back and looked. I have tracked this very, very closely, and we are at the verge of a price explosion in Bitcoin. That is going to, once it gets started, it is going to continue and is going to continue all the way into October. And I will put it out there again. And I'm not alone. I mean, people told me I was crazy when I first said it, but I'm not alone in saying that Bitcoin is likely to go to 1 million in this cycle. That is where, in and around that, is where the peak is, and it's going to happen somewhere at the end of October to early December. Now, one of the things I haven't talked about is like how this crypto cycle is going to play out. My view is this, which is that, remember, we have only seen a new high in Bitcoin. No other major token, not Ethereum, not XRP, not Avalanche, not Dogecoin, no other token, an established token. I mean, yeah, there are like meme coins, etc., that have mooned, but the main big tokens, none of them have seen new highs. When is that going to happen? That happens, I think, like once Bitcoin starts to make these like continual highs. We're going to definitely see Ethereum and others start to hit new highs. XRP is going to start to hit new highs. A lot of the crypto tokens in the silver tier will hit new highs. Dogecoin will hit a new high. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing this, but this is my opinion. And then it will trigger an altcoin rally, which I believe is going to focus on coins that have utility, have a reason to exist, rather than a super speculative cycle where everybody's just pursuing the next meme coin or shit coin. I mean, obviously we've had plenty of those that have done plenty well already, but the reason I say that is there's so many people that have already bought Shiba Inu and bought all these things and thinking that like, hey, this cycle is going to be just like the next one. And the markets are just never that easy. This is never that easy. It just generally gravitates to what is new, what is different, what is unique. And that is quite naturally where the new demand is. And it's also where there's the least amount of psychological barrier. Because it can make new highs. And as it makes new highs, it draws in and brings in new buyers who want to participate, that then drive even newer highs. So what will those be? I personally believe it's going to be like a lot of those decentralized finance coins are going to be part of it. There's going to be some new ones, but I don't think you're going to get like a whole new slew of as many coins as we saw moon higher in the 2020 cycle, when we had really the birth of decentralized finance with Uniswap and Maker and Chainlink and others. Those are coins that have incredible utility. They have a purpose. They generate fees. That's important because if you're not generating fees, you're issuing tokens to pay your bills. So I think this is a quality cycle rather than a sort of like a speculative cycle, to be seen. The reason I say that is that I think like the vast majority of people are prepared for a speculative cycle. Why? Well, because that's what we had last time. And the markets will almost inevitably go in some other direction. Bottom line, though, if you're an ATG Digital subscriber, and yeah, I mean, I'll just put a plug in. Well, I mean, I think we do a good job and we give so much away for free. If you're an ATG Digital subscriber, I mean, we've got crypto in at every level, right? I mean, this is one of the things that I was like really pumped to do on leaving, on no longer being at Banyan Hill, which is mixing up the crypto and the stocks. Some people hate it, but hey, we're just trying to make you money. Yeah, I mean, it's our view of the world that crypto is an important asset class. It is the future of money. And if you're not in it, I think you're gonna miss out. So we've got it in every single tier, in silver tier, in gold tier, in diamond tier. So if you're not in, I think like this is something I've been consistently saying for the better part of a year. I think when people look back on 2025, they'll be I shoulda, I coulda, I woulda, and what will it be applied to? Crypto. That's where it is. So what's the bottom line on crypto? Well, we're in the last days of this ranging. We're setting up for new highs with massive, unbelievable volatility. It will not be easy. It will be mind blowing. You'll be happy and ecstatic one day. And then you'll be like, oh my God, I should have sold everything. And then the next day is going to be wild. It is going to be absolutely wild. That's my view. It is going to be wild. And after we go through some period when Bitcoin is just steadily making new highs, you are going to see liquidity peel out from Bitcoin, liquidity start to gush in from traditional finance, legacy finance, um, and that will just push a lot of crypto up. And I believe that we're going to see the first wave of sort of like regular investors go past Bitcoin. Because right now, I mean, Bitcoin is pretty much it. And there's an Ethereum ETF that will go into Ethereum, and now they will start to suss out and analyze. Well, what else should we own? What else is an opportunity? And as they come in, yeah, I mean, we're talking about hundred. I mean, what, tens of trillions of dollars. I mean, if you simply use like a 5% crypto allocation, we got so much money that needs to come in. So very, very bullish, very optimistic, very positive on crypto and crypto related stocks. What are they? Coinbase, Robinhood, PayPal, Block. These are all crypto related stocks. And then there's the mining stocks, obviously, which have done nothing. And people keep asking, why? Well, I mean, they're not making money. They're not making money. I mean, they're after the halving, they had to pretty much upgrade all of their mining rigs. They would have to move to the lowest cost energy areas, and at the current price, they're making about 10%. But just imagine at 150,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, 600,000, their costs stay the same, but what they're generating in terms of Bitcoin value is just rocketing higher. That's the environment in which the miners just take off and keep going and keep going and keep going. We simply have not had that environment yet, but it is coming. It is coming. I don't think it's incredibly far away. It is coming. It is close. It will be here. And I will stick to this. I said this, which is the miners will be the most profitable stock for sure, potentially even investment, because people will price in and discount and all of those things and like sort of like think forward, right? I mean, the markets look forward. So if you extrapolate that, 2025 sales and sales growth is going to continue for 1 or 2 years, yeah, the market will pay some crazy number for these miners, like come like June, July next year. Crazy numbers, mad numbers. So don't lose hope if you have the miners. I mean, I know, like, I've been saying this, but what can we do, right? I don't get to set what happens in the markets. And the markets, just like the nature of it is they make you wait. I mean, so covered crypto in a fairly big way. Let's just talk about general markets. My view is that, like, I think like the era of just like seeing like the S&P 500 just go up like it's like a programmed clock, yeah, is over. My view is this is going to be a stock picker's market. Why? Well, there's macro change in terms of trade policy, there's macro change in terms of interest rates, and then the other thing we have is that we have this extraordinary bounty of innovation that is largely like just sitting there untapped. And it's untapped because mostly the government sort of like, sits on its head, and between rules, regulations, and bureaucracy does not allow it to really just flow through our economy. But with President Trump being elected, with Elon Musk being such a big part of this administration, I think that's going to change. And if that's the case, then we're going to see like a lot of smaller companies that have usable uh, technology. People are going to start bidding them up, and bidding them up ahead, really, of anything else. I think we got a kind of taste of this with the quantum computing, I'll call it, hype cycle, because anyone that actually looked at these quantum computing companies knew that, like, they don't really have a product, they don't have a business model, they don't have a business. I mean, this is just these are companies with an idea of quantum computing, but the market didn't care, it just rocketed them higher. And I think we're going to see more of that. We're going to see more of that. I mean, we've sort of seen that a little bit with this eVTOL companies like Archer and Joby Aviation. There's clearly buyers. I mean, that again, these are all idea companies. They're not quite businesses. They have a technology, they have an idea that they're going to create a business around this technology, which is electric vertical takeoff and lift aircraft. But they're not businesses. And these are ideas. But we can see, buyers are coming in and they're buying in. Why? Well, because people are expecting innovation, innovation to be unleashed. And in that scenario, people are not going to wait. They're not going to wait until, that's there, or there's a hype cycle where it's not related to the business, it's purely just demand for the stock based on the idea that this is going to be great. We saw that in 3D printing in 2011. Obviously, we saw that with cannabis for some period of time. It can be great on the way up, but obviously, once like these things pop, yeah, I mean, you can see, I mean, we obviously got crushed in cannabis. So, I mean, and 3D printing stocks even today are kind of like, lower than where they were in 2008. So this is a difficult and dangerous game to play. But yeah, I mean, we'll when we see if we can get in on the ground floor on some of these hype trades, and we identify them as hype trades, we'll get in and we'll put some in. And if they're small companies, they'll go in diamond tier. They're medium-sized companies, they'll go in gold tier. It's unlikely we would put any of this in silver tier. Okay, now to some stock-specific stuff. Fannie Mae on fire. Why? Well, essentially because we are, what, 5 days away from President Trump taking office, and it's very clear that his plan is to set these companies free. And because of that, actually, the Biden administration has put out, I think, like a memo, something I can't remember, essentially saying, like they want various things. So the Treasury, bottom line, everything is saying like these companies are going to be set free. And as I told you in my video about Fannie Mae, which is that the market's not going to wait until every I is dotted and every T is crossed. I mean, it's going to be like it's going to look ahead, it's going to anticipate, it is going to estimate, and look ahead. And like what? I mean, we've gone from $1.60 to $7, and we're nowhere near, in my estimation, like what the real value of these companies are. Well, I mean, for one, we don't know what the plan to release them is going to look like, how many more shares will be issued, all these different things. But the market's not waiting. The market is just going. The market is just going. There's obviously, much less upside left in the preferreds, because those have par values of 25 or 50, and the vast majority of them are already at 50%. So From here, it can just, I mean, they're 50% of par value is what I mean. So they're at 12, around $12, not quite 12.50, but they could just double from here. So if you want big upside, you're gonna have to like jump in and take a shot at Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac Common to make big money. So that's one that I talked about. I wrote a Substack yesterday about Mankind Corp, and as you know, if you've been watching this stream, this is a company. I'm not going to go into the biotechnology element of it. I'm just going to talk about the short squeeze potential. Uh, they have so much money coming in, and they really don't have much use for it. This is a company that essentially was given up for dead. They had this huge hype about Afrezza because it was inhalable insulin, fast acting insulin, and nothing happened. And the stock just cratered. In fact, they almost went bankrupt. Then they made this deal for Tyvaso DPI, inhalable Tyvaso DPI, which is now flooding Mankind Corp with $200-300 million per year. Now they can pay off debt, and they recently paid off like I think it was like 200 and I think like yeah 200 and something million, and of that 89 million was paid off in cash. Why didn't they pay it all off in cash? Well, look, if you've gone through near bankruptcy, you tend to want to hold a lot of cash. So I don't blame the management for like not paying the whole thing off in cash. But either way, they paid off 89.3 million in cash, and that payoff has the potential to trigger a short squeeze because the folks that own the convertible bonds, and that's what the debt was, they were short the stock to hedge the convertible bond. And everything that I can see suggests that they have not covered. They've not yet gone into the market and bought like $89 million worth of stock. Um, and at some point in 2025, they're going to have to cover, because if I'll say when the market figures out, and I'm obviously out here on YouTube telling you about it, I'm out there on Substack writing about it. If and when the market figures out and starts to, be like, hey, there's a bunch of people that need this stock and they need it lower. Well, the market's not going to do that for them. They are going to buy up whatever's there and start to bid it up. And as it gets bid up, now the folks who own these convertible bonds, they're losing money. They're losing money, and they have the potential to be squeezed and squeezed hard. And this is all going on while everything at Mankind medically is going perfectly. Afrezza has like these 2 new trials that can blow up the revenue in a big way, like increase in a big way. Tyvaso DPI can get a new, condition, approved, which would increase the royalties even more. And then there's a shortage of insulin driven by the government's price control of insulin at $35. Like there is no market that I've been in, there is no experience that I've had where a price control did not lead to a shortage. And that is exactly what is going on. There is a shortage. It's not like so severe at this point. It's not like acute, but it is there intermittently around the world and then in the United States for insulin. And Afrezza and Mankind sort of like sit there by luck, prepared, if you will, to sort of like provide insulin at $35. They make money at that rate. So everything looks good. Everything looks good. Let's see. I have been on for about 30 minutes. And let me just think through some of the other stocks. 3D printing. I mean, we are long suffering in 3D printing, right? I mean, those were put into the Profits Unlimited portfolio all the way back in 2016. For those of you who are on the live stream, don't know what Profits Unlimited is, well, this was a publication that I picked stocks for when I had like a publisher, if you will. But you don't need to know any of that, other than to know that I got in too early. I got our readers in too early, but it's finally time. And that is the reason I think that is because deglobalization, unglobalization, whatever you're going to call it, reverse globalization, bringing production back to the United States is going to flow through 3D printing. And there will be an extraordinary boom of 3D printing that is going to unfold. And I think it is going to be breathtaking, and I think it is going to be face melting because nobody is prepared for it. How do we know that? Well, these stocks are trading for like nothing, nothing. 3D Systems, Stratasys, Protolabs, I mean, others. So when the big money comes to buy in, I mean, these are tiny little companies. Right? I mean, they're like $200-300 million. I mean, they're going to bring in like a few $1 billion and they're going to bid this up huge. I mean, we can make like a huge amount of money. I mean, either way, I mean, I am incredibly stoked, excited for 2025. I think crypto is going to be on fire. I think so many of our stocks are going to be on fire. I didn't even talk about autonomy and robo taxis, etc. We just got to have so much going on. I mean, I can come on and talk here for like 3-4 hours, and I still probably wouldn't cover everything. But bottom line, it's a great time to be a OGI investor. Opportunity, growth, and innovation. Yeah, this is the year. This is the year. All right. I see a bunch of comments and slash questions here. So let's see what we got. Throw more in. Um, on anything, whether they're in the portfolio or not. If you just happen to come across this live stream, welcome. This is about investing. This is about investing in innovation, in growth, and opportunity. That means crypto, growth stocks. So join in and have some fun. All right. Rashad, who's a regular live stream investor. Hey, Rashad, good to see you. The last live stream, I think like I had a cold. No, I didn't have a cold. I had allergies. Some of the air just like keep sneezing. But as you can see, I'm pretty good now. I'm really good. Another regular, Cynthia. Hey, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you being here. Um, Cynthia asks, is mRNA falling? Is it because they announced a dividend? mRNA is falling because there's a lot of bad publicity, news about the COVID vaccine and Trump and is coming, and it's perceived that I mean, people essentially view mRNA, which is Moderna, by the way. I mean, that's the ticker symbol, as like a one trick pony, like COVID vaccines. But go and look at their pipeline. They got so much. I mean, we're not in it for the COVID vaccine. We're in it because mRNA technology, in my judgment, in my opinion, in my view, is one of the seminal critical biotech platforms that is going to produce incredible medications that is going to change the face of human health. And there is no other company that has that kind of pipeline. But the vast majority of people don't view it like that. They view it through the lens of politics, COVID vaccines. I don't really care. I mean, I'll look at that technology and I was like, man, they're going to have some crazy great vaccines that are going to do incredible things, whether it be for flu, cancer, etc. And you don't want to take it, don't take it. You don't want to own Moderna, don't own it. But I think it's an extraordinary company. And in hindsight, people's like, well, yeah, I should have owned that. That was so obvious. I mean, you see what they said. So, people come up with all reasons. Yeah, the dividend could be some short-term volatility, but folks, keep your eyes on the prize. Yeah, we're looking for big gains. We're not looking for 5%. We're not looking for 10%. We want big gains. We want 100%, 300%, 500%, 1,000%. That's what we want. That's what we want. Raul, another regular live stream viewer, asks, I'm going to put my feet up here. Remember, it's early morning for me, yeah? Early morning. Oh, I could use some coffee. I'm going to go to bed after this and hopefully get good sleep. Hope all is well. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, where will they go? Well, yeah, 20, 30, 50? I mean, you'll know when the short-term peak is in, when you start to get tomes of analysis. I mean, my experience is that the best trades, yeah, I mean, they're kind of like hard to really describe. Like, I mean, Fannie Mae, when I used to talk about it, people like, oh, this is stupid, Paul. Yeah, isn't government's going to hold on to ever? So I mean, where can it go? I mean, I think $20 or $30 seems like a plausible target. But hey, I mean, it could just stop out at $15 because, like, hey, as news of, I can generally tell you this: the more the once like most of the news is out, this will stop. I mean, this run will stop. Why? Because the market looks forward, and then of course there's enough people that own this at higher prices that held on, and they will come to sell. Yeah, I mean, so it's not going to be like a perfect straight line up. And we always think when prices are rising, it's a straight line up. No, it's always like this. It's always like this. So, uh, bigger numbers are coming for sure. Exactly the peak, I don't really know. David says, "Hey, Paul, Castle had a slight miss on test report." Yeah, I don't really look at this. I mean, I'm the slight miss. I mean, in the scheme of 3 to 5 years, who cares about slight miss? I mean, yeah, any growth stock that has been up like that in a straight line will just get hit hard. Why? Well, because there are people that effectively bet on earnings because it's an event. How do they bet on it? Well, a few weeks into the earnings, they will buy call options or put options. Call options, as you know, are a bet on the stock price going up. Put options are a bet on stock price going down. They'll make a bet. And if it doesn't turn out, they will just exit out. And then it will trigger questions like this. Yeah, I mean, if you're in it for like this kind of move, yeah, I mean, 16% for a growth stock is not a big number. That's just the truth. Anyone that's been with me for the last 3 4 years, you can, I mean, we had some serious volatility. I mean, Castle, let me see, is still up in our portfolio by how much? Let's see here. Castle Biosciences. Yeah, 37%. It was higher, but that's very much in the nature of it. Yeah, I mean, I don't sweat this kind of stuff. Couldn't buy Fannie Mae on my brokerage. Yeah, I mean, hey, I know people who wanted to buy Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac on Robinhood, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. You had to be with one of the old school legacy brokers in some cases, and even they wouldn't let you. I know people that had to call Fidelity, be like, "Hey, release my account because Fannie Mae is considered a dangerous stock and trades on the over the counter, bulletin board exchange. So it's not easy to buy, but obviously, some of the best opportunities have this element, which is that they're hard to kind of access. So very few people get in, but that's been true. I mean, imagine like buying Bitcoin in like what 2011 or 2012. Certainly wasn't easy. I mean, people used to go to like Taco Bell. There was a dude that used to like deal Bitcoin from Taco Bell. I think like Coinbase comes around in 2012, which is but like, I mean, I hadn't heard of Coinbase in 2012. I have to be truthful. And I found Coinbase in probably 2016. So yeah, I mean, hey, that's the nature of investing. Like it's not always going to be easy to go access all these things, and you got to figure out how to do it if you want to participate. What do I think about inflation ramping back up again? I don't really see inflation ramping up again. I mean, the Fed is clearly quite comfortable between inflation, like moving between 2 and 3%. I think like people betting on stuff because all betting is based on volatility. Will bet like, okay, like this number came high, so they're gonna skyrocket rates higher. Inflation. I mean, the Federal Reserve is on like a very gradual path to cut rates marginally. They're not going to cut rates to zero or to negative. I can see that like the next cutting cycle will end, I will say, at around 3%. That's where it will be. So 5.3% was the peak, 3% will be the low. um, And then from there, yeah, I mean, we'll probably see it like go in a range. This is what I have theorized. It will go between whatever 3 and 5% for like 10, 12 years. That's my view. And we got some good old fashioned cheerleading for Fannie Mae. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Do you display portfolio performance for your subscribers anyway? We do not. So you are welcome to do that for us. We do not have the money, we do not have the capability, and we do not have the manpower to do that. But you are welcome to do it and measure us in any way you want. Um, um, so um, we used to have Bloomberg when we were at Banyan Hill. Bloomberg cost what, $1,000 a month? Yeah, we ain't doing that. But hey, if I know there are some pretty sharp folks out there, and there are other systems out there. Track us, track us. I mean, we'll have good years, we'll have bad years, but track us. I'm not afraid. I mean, obviously, I had some pretty horrendous years, in 2022 and 2023. Track us. Yeah, if you can find systems, I'd love to see it. Truthfully. Thank you, sir. And anybody others, please like button, smash, subscribe button, smash, please. And for that matter, if you're interested in subscribing, been thinking about subscribing, atgdigital.media is where you should go. Well, I don't know when you put this question in, sir. So I don't know what what I was talking about at the time. Regarding the insulin short squeeze, Mankind Corp, MNKD, 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 MNKD. That is the ticker symbol of the company I was talking about. Can you talk about Solana versus Ethereum? I don't consider these to be as peers. Solana is what a blockchain network that is primarily filled with meme coins, from my understanding, and Ethereum is a platform that is primarily what is built on it. The Ethereum blockchain are quite serious, real apps with very large use cases um, that you can parallel or map to legacy finance. So these live in different universes. I mean, I know people used to think that Solana was the Ethereum killer. I never bought into that. I still don't buy into it. We don't own Solana in any portfolio because I cannot find a particular use case for it that that fits my criteria, which is ultimately the value of a network is based on what sits on it. So if the vast majority of meme coins long term are worth zero, yeah, I mean, what is being built on Solana isn't worth that much. I could be wrong. I mean, people love so. I mean, people are very passionate about Solana and truthfully about all crypto. So they're like, "Oh, you're an idiot. You denigrated. You should go to hell." Hey, okay, this is my opinion. It doesn't mean it's the truth. I could be wrong. If you love Solana, hey, it's great, right? I don't really see Ethereum and Solana as being comparable. And then we have some helpers here. Mankind Corp. Vikram, appreciate you mentioning that. FNMA is Fannie Mae. FMCC is Freddie Mac. MSTX is MicroStrategy. I don't think I really discussed that. But that is the MSTX is not MicroStrategy. MSTX is a leveraged ETF on MicroStrategy, as is MSTU. As is MSTU. Anthony doing some advertising for us. By the way, Anthony does not work for ATG Digital. He's doing this totally on his own. So he's giving me like a testimonial here. I find Paul's paid subscriptions valuable. $9.99 or $14.99. $14.99 is for gold tier. Is a deal compared to other publishers and probably more valuable. And what do you get for it? Well, you get the stock picks for the particular tier. Gold tier focuses on sort of like mid cap ish stocks. Silver tier is mostly the large stocks, but there's a smattering of very small stocks and a smattering of mid sized stocks. But I think like I tell people during the updates, like, I mean, what we try to do is provide information and ideas. We don't guarantee profits. Many people write me and say, Paul, I subscribed and I lost money. Yeah, that's going to happen. I mean, nobody bats 1,000. I mean, not Warren Buffett, not Jimmy Buffett. Nobody bats 1,000. So the nature of all investing is that like a few big winners will carry you. So I mean, you look at silver tier, it's Tesla and Bitcoin. You look at gold tier, it's MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is like the big one that's there. That's the nature of investing. You gotta have to have the big winners. So if you just pick one, and it's the loser, and you bet your whole wad on it, I mean, yeah. And this is like the hate that I get from people is usually folks that have picked one stock, and that's been obviously like a loser. I mean, I'm going to have more than one loser per portfolio. Like, I mean, there's 500 stocks in the S&P 500. Just understand, 500, and over the last several years, 7 of them have carried that index. The vast majority of the stocks in the S&P 500 make no money, no money. Right? People find that completely acceptable, but hey, yeah, I mean, our portfolios have like 40, 50 stocks. They're like, oh, this is a loser. You're a horrible person. You destroyed me. Yeah, whatever. I cannot get everything right. But either way, that's neither here nor there. Um, you get guidance, you get picks. Join us. We'd love to have you. Um, Solana is not built on the Ethereum blockchain. Solana is its own blockchain. Solana is its own blockchain. Just so you know. Thank you. Someone confirming with Anthony. I appreciate these testimonials, folks, because you know what? We do not have marketing, right? I mean, all we have is content. We create free content and we have paid content. Then we got customer service, and then we've got operations. In other words, getting these picks out to all of you by email, by text. That's it. We had no marketing at all. So anything you do for us, we are deeply, deeply grateful. Thank you. What are my top 5 cryptos? It depends. All right. If you're looking for there's you can't. I mean, there's what, like 2.3 million cryptos out there. I think something like that. I say the must own ones are like the big ones. I mean, some of them people would swap one for the other. There's many people say Solana, and you know what? Solana has got such a large market cap. Probably, that probably makes sense. But I would say you got Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Dogecoin, which probably doesn't get into most people's top 5. And then I will say, I mean, from there, we have Avalanche in the silver tier. But equally, I would go even for like something like one of the big decentralized finance tokens like Chainlink, Uniswap, Maker, one of those. So those would be like the sort of must have. Is it the top 5? Well, I mean, we haven't really seen like what is the shape of like the altcoin rally going to be. My personal view is that it is going to go through the decentralized finance route. So some of these algorithmic stable coins, which just got destroyed in the last cycle, and they're trading for nothing. Like, I mean, those could go well because we're going to see a huge stable coin adoption, I think, over the next 3-5 years. So that's a sort of like an easy trade. I mean, I think real world asset tokens are an easy trade. Dan, who is an analyst at ASHES Digital, said that he has gone through all of Reddit, and he's like, Paul, I think AI coins are going to moon. So we're doing some work on AI coins. We'll probably, many of these are quite small. We'll add it to Diamond tier. That's where there will be. These are, I mean, speculative with at least an idea that AI is going to consume so much energy and requires so much computing power that probably the best way to pay for it and to use it efficiently is probably some form of crypto. So we don't know necessarily which crypto that will be, but we are going to add some AI coins to Diamond tier. And then for us, the struggle is that being that a lot of our subscribers are not incredibly sophisticated, they need to trade on any crypto we put into any of our tiers, have to trade on Coinbase or have to trade on Robinhood. They have to be sort of like somewhat accessible. Yeah, because once you get into trading only on Uniswap, it gets complicated. It gets complicated pretty quickly. So we're a little bit hand tied in what we do. But our idea is of ATG digital portfolios is that we're not trying to capture like the needle in the haystack. We're trying to get the big ones right because that's where the vast majority of the big money is made. EVs, if you didn't own Tesla, I mean, you essentially didn't get it right. With crypto, if you didn't essentially own Bitcoin or Ethereum, you didn't get it right. I mean, like you didn't have to work that hard. So our goal with silver tier is to try and like get that in, and then from there in gold and diamond tier to sort of like maybe dig for the needle a little bit, a little bit. um, Michael says he's followed me since 2020. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate the persistent, loyal support. Very grateful. Can you please try hot green tea for your cough? It might not cure it. This is just an allergy. The air here is a little different, and I got a throat thing, and then like yeah, and then it became a cough. This is almost gone. So I know it's somewhat annoying to listen to you, but it's almost gone. And I think by the time I get back, it will be completely gone. But I've been taking anti-allergy medication, and it has helped a lot. But I thank you for your concern, and I appreciate it. Um, Paul's advice is invaluable. We even made money from his Substack. Been following since we published the book, which is a great read. Yeah, the book is still selling, folks. I mean, I go on Amazon, and there are folks that are still buying it. I mean, it's out of print. I think Dean has a few copies left. I had one box left when Banyan Hill terminated me, which I sent to Dean. So periodically, from time to time, Dean does like some sort of competition off the Substack. So join the Substack, which is here. If you want a chance to get a free copy of the book. All right, next question here. Rocket Lab. The stock has done incredibly well, so anything I say is going to be skewed within that perspective. Yeah, I mean, Rocket Lab still can't do what SpaceX does, which is take the rocket into space and bring it back. They also have a rocket that's pretty underpowered. The stock has obviously gone up because you can't invest in SpaceX. And then there are so few pure plays in space. So people just kind of like go like, well, what else can I invest in? And so it's gone up. Excuse me, but that's my viewpoint. It's more of a hype trade than a business trade, which means that at some point in time, it just kind of like runs out of people that are willing to buy it. Any information on MicroStrategy? This is a tricky one, right? I mean, MicroStrategy peaked out at $540. Let's put a chart up. I'm starting to feel good here, and I'm like in a good flow. So let's try and be as helpful as I can. So let's get a longer term chart of this. So here we go. Switch the chart. Okay. So I think I'll get rid of the volume. We don't really need volume. Just need price. Okay. Makes it a little bit easier. So, well, we peak in MicroStrategy at $543 in November. So November 21st, December 21st, we're coming on 2 months. And since then, essentially, Bitcoin has range traded between, let's say, 100 to 90K. In the meantime, Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy have accumulated a bunch more of Bitcoin. Let's see how much that is. let's go to the Michael Saylor tracker. I need to move this down a little bit. I'm just gonna remove myself from the stage so that people can see a little bit better. This is so they now own 43.3 billion worth of Bitcoin. Oh, actually, I want the other website here, so just give me a moment. MSTR tracker. I think that's the one I want. Okay. So you can see here that, well, they bought a bunch more Bitcoin. They've got 450,000 Bitcoin now, worth about 43.34 billion. It's 2.14% of all the 21 million Bitcoin that can ever be mined. The average cost is 62,691, but the one thing that has collapsed is this, which is that at its previous peak, I'm just looking for the NAVs. Yeah, this was trading at 3.4 times the amount of Bitcoin that was held at MicroStrategy. Now, there's a lot more Bitcoin there, and right now it's trading for a premium of 1.93. So basically, what's happened is that the premium has just simply shrunk. Why? Well, primarily because Bitcoin has not made new highs, and there have not been more buyers willing to come in and bid MicroStrategy higher. But what will happen as Bitcoin hits 150, 200, $300,000 in 2025? Well, I have taken the viewpoint, I'll go back to this chart again, that 3.4 is not going to be the peak. I think that at the high in 2025, MicroStrategy will trade for some ludicrous number relative to the amount of Bitcoin it has. What's a ludicrous number? 7 times, 8 times, 10 times? So at current prices at 43 billion, let's say that they don't buy any more Bitcoin, and at current prices, if you apply that, then MicroStrategy is worth 430 billion. And where are we today? We're at 82 billion. 430 billion is a 5x from here. So the other question that people want to know is, well, like, isn't this the dumbest trade in history? If you want to own Bitcoin, why would people own Bitcoin? Well, there's many people who don't want to own Bitcoin, can't own Bitcoin, and just simply, want somebody else to do the work. I mean, there's closed-end funds, there's mutual funds. Why can't you just buy your own stocks? And people will pay for it. There's also something to be said for the company that owns the most human beings. We value things that are first. We value things that are the biggest. We value the things that are the greatest. So you assign a premium to it. I know that some of this sounds dumb because people want these super technical explanations, but the markets are human and people assign premiums to these kinds of things. So my view is that, Michael Saylor is going to keep buying Bitcoin. He's already at, what is he at? I mean, 450,000 Bitcoin, right? I mean, and let's look at a chart of his action, buying Bitcoin. I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone does that, where it shows the rate at which, yeah, we don't have that, but he's going to keep buying Bitcoin. The Bitcoin prices, in my opinion, obviously in his opinion, is going to keep going up. And during price spikes for Bitcoin, people will get very excited and bid MicroStrategy up to some enormous premium. So in the last price spike, MicroStrategy premium to its Bitcoin was 3.4. Next price spike, let's say it's to 200,000, 150, 170,000. I think it will get to 4.2. So it's 4.2, you're going to take the Bitcoin, multiply the price, and you go 4.2. These numbers are all way bigger than what they are. But remember, it's going to be volatile. Why is it volatile? Because, well, truthfully, they need it to be volatile. Who's they? MicroStrategy. Why? Because that's how they sell convertible debt. Convertible debt is very valuable to convertible bond traders if it is very volatile. So all that volatility helps them just fund and new debt, which allows them to buy more Bitcoin, which of course creates more volatility. So I mean, this is a cycle where like, hey, it's going to be crazy volatile, but it is going to be in an upward direction. I believe until Bitcoin peaks for this cycle, and then I think like without surges, then that premium will start to shrink and go down to some low accompanying Bitcoin. So I think MicroStrategy is probably one that where people should probably take some profits at the end of this year. We will certainly be guiding our investors. I mean our subscribers at ATG Digital. It's like, hey, we think that this is what's going to happen, and we'll be like, I think you want to own MicroStrategy long term, but I also think that there are going to be some very sharp peaks and there are going to be some very sharp valleys. And because the premium to the Bitcoin that they own is definitely not going to continue to stay high as Bitcoin prices so like collapse downward, as it usually does, after like about 18 months after the halving. Well, that's when it begins. That's when it begins. Any closer to an ATG portfolio ETF? I think that based on the last time I was asked this, I think we have something like 6 million, sort of like firm-ish commitments of people that say they would put their money into a ATG portfolio ETF. We need something like 20 to 25 million to get that started. So we are edging forward, but there's not been any dramatic movement. Um, Less than $20 a month to learn how to invest. An amazing insight. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment and appreciate the support. Hi, Paul. I see Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are moving. Can you give insights? I know you gave these three. No, they were not in Profits Unlimited years ago. They were actually in True Momentum, and now they are in gold tier. And in fact, I spoke about this earlier in this live stream. So when this live stream is over, it will be in under the live folder on my channel. Just go back a little bit and see, and you will be able to find my comments because I don't want to repeat it because most people have heard it already. My book is a collector's item. Galwan, wow, that is an amazing compliment, sir. I appreciate that very, very much. I appreciate that very, very much. Paul, been a subscriber since 2016. You guided me from 500K to multi-millions. Damn. Wow, we are getting like the testimonials here. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you. You're a rare person who has a great heart and appreciate you sharing your expertise. Well, I've always felt this, right? There's no point having knowledge. There's no point having some understanding if you're not willing to share it. And from my perspective, if I didn't have the subscribers at ATC Digital, the folks that show up at live stream, yeah, I mean, it's great. Sure, I invest all of it, but I think, I'd love to, I like helping people. I've always wanted to help people. So I'm very grateful that you are you're a subscriber, that you've been a supporter, a patron, and that you have done so incredibly well. I am just stoked, happy from my heart for you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. What is a good entry point? Yeah, there's not going to be any good entry points. Any entry point is going to come with huge volatility. Why? Because, like, it's a very uncertain situation. I mean, one word, a memo, saying like, oh, this might take 6 months longer, the thing will drop 30%. A memo, a word, some politician, Bill Ackman, saying something positive, and the rocket's up to 10. There are no good entry points for something that is like happening. In other words, you're gonna have to like absorb, like be like, hey, I'm in, and I either want to go in and be like, I'm okay with being 30% down, 30% up from day to day, or else you're gonna like, hey, I'm gonna buy in a little bit, and like maybe Paul's target of $30 or $40 is right. If that's right, then I want some average cost, and that's what I would target. But there's no good entry point for something that is swinging this wildly from day to day based on, at this point, yeah, mostly like rumors and hearsay and all this thing. But there's obviously something real underneath this as well. Are you in California affected by the fires at all? I am not in California, sir. Actually, right now I am traveling in Asia. I'm watching the California fires in sort of like shock, and can't believe that that's even in the realm of possibility in our country. But it is what it is. It's tragic. My heart goes out to the folks who have lost homes. I mean, it's just sort of unthinkable to me that I have been out to LA when I managed the hedge fund for Horizon Kinetics. I used to go out there and market the hedge fund out there to financial advisors. Um, and so I mean, I've always loved LA. I always thought it was great. The weather is great. The people are smart. Is heartbreaking, heartbreaking. My prayers, love, hope go out to all of you who are affected. And we can only hope that, like, recovery comes soon and fast for all of them. All right. We've gone on for an hour and 6 minutes. I hope I was able to answer all of your questions. I appreciate all of you attending. I think come next week, which will be the 22nd, I will be back in the US, hopefully without a cough. I will have tea ready in case I do, so that you don't have to listen to it. And then hopefully we'll see Bitcoin starting to be like at some big high price. We'll have some, Fannie Mae, and then hopefully like some of the others will have started to take off, whether it be in crypto, whether it be mankind. Either way, be bullish, folks. Be optimistic. Be positive. This is our time. This is our time. We are going to smash and smash big. All right. Thank you, everyone, for attending this live stream. Miss Puppy Pup, I just wanted to make sure I got you in. So you're regular viewer. BOP, we are bullish, optimistic, positive. Um, I think this is going to be a very, 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 very good year. Did I use very enough? I did. All right. Thank you, everyone. ATGdigital.media for subscriptions. Come back next week when I will be back in the US for a live stream at the regular time. So thank you, everyone. This is Paul saying thank you and goodbye.